Hey, all, welcome into another edition of S2S, Colorado Buffaloes Live. I'm your host, Manny. Make sure to follow me on X at Manny_303, Instagram at 303_Manny. Again, make sure you can catch us on any any one of your major podcast platforms. And again, if you can contribute to the show by any means, again, it is not required, but it would be at Manny S2S. And lastly, we have with Rebet, we have to make a bet, betting website if that is what you're into. So I'm going to put this in the link. You can either use the link to sign up for Rebet, or you can go into rebet.com and use VOCFBCU for it will give you a 100% purchase match up to $100. And so there's that in the chat. And if you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Again, if you could, that'd be awesome. It's in the chat now. So yeah, if that's something you're into, you would get a 100% purchase match up to $100. So yeah, let's talk into some Buffs today. We got a great show going on today. We have a Ralphie report, news and notes, and this is going to be more centered around Shedeur today and a couple other things, but and the injury report, those things. But the Shedeur Rex Ryan fiasco, what's going on there, and then we have some recruiting news to talk about. Big time recruit heading into Boulder next weekend. So yeah, that one's another one. Here comes another one. So, and then keys to the game, to what the Buffs need to do to come out of there and upset TCU again, right, for the second time in 3 years. So let's dive into this. So I don't know if you guys caught this earlier in the week. I think it was Monday or Tuesday. I can't remember which day it was. Dylan Gabriel was named the starter. They moved, and Shedeur was saying he was ready. Rex Ryan on Get Up said, so quote, something's missing with this kid. This kid talks. He runs his mouth like I could be a starting quarterback with his arms crossed like this. What he says is get your ass in the front row and study and do all that. If I know, the whole league knows. Quit being an embarrassment that way. You've got the talent to be the quarterback. You should be embarrassed that you're not the quarterback. So those are Rex Ryan's word on Get Up. Shedeur then they interviewed him. I think it was yesterday or a day or two days ago maybe. Asked him about it, and he pretended to be a mime, right? In response to Rex Ryan, saying shut up or whatever, or keep your mouth shut, running his mouth. So, I mean, and again, some people take offense or whatever it is with that. I mean, I don't really necessarily think it's that big of a deal. I would, I don't know. It's just really weird. What is he supposed to say? No, I'm not ready, so don't play me. So I don't understand this whole thing around him. If he came out and said, well, I'm not ready, I'm okay sitting, then you'd be criticized for that as well. So it's a lose-lose, and even just saying nothing at all, pretending to be a mime, that's funny, in my opinion. I think it's funny. But, with the way things are, the attention he gets, I mean, it is, damned if you do, damned if you don't at this point. So just ridiculous what's going on with Shedeur and treatment or whatever we want to call it that he receives. Just not fun. So there was that earlier in the week with our guy Shedeur. Now, Gabriel Lightfoot, D-tackle, transfer over from Fresno State, underwent surgery for an undisclosed injury. I've been trying to figure out what it is, how long he's out, any of those things, and nothing is out. Nothing is out on that. So again, I'm not sure where we're at with that, like what is going on with Gabriel Lightfoot, but it is it is kind of strange, I guess. I don't, all I can say to heal up, young man, come back better than ever. So, that's what I would say to that. Hopefully he's doing okay. Hopefully it's nothing major or anything like that going on with him, but this is just kind of where he's at. So, and if he doesn't play again, heal up, come back better than ever next year. So just something to follow with Lightfoot. Now, the injury report, if you have not had a chance to take a look at the injury report. Let me get that pulled up for you. But it is lengthy, so something that we have been something we have been talking about. But this injury report is long. So here's the injury report, and as you can see, right, starts at the top compared to TCU's. That is a lengthy injury report. The Buffs, right now, if you look closely at it, I don't know how big it appears on your guys' screen, but you look closely at it, we are missing a ton. There's D tackles out. So, from my perspective, let me get it pulled up on my end, but it's almost like where are they at with the defensive tackles at this point? Because it is lengthy, right? Like, I don't know the depth there at this point, right? So you have out for sure. Let me see. So offensive line, D tackle, Tafik Thomas, obviously Gabriel Lightfoot, doubtful, Anquan Barnes, Tavian Coleman, probable, right? Amari McNeil. So that is a lot of players on the report, a lot of defensive tackles in particular. So I'm kind of curious as to what that looks like. The one that also gets me is you have RJ Johnson out at the top. There was one more. Oh, Simeon Price, obviously, and DeKalen Taylor are out. But this list is just growing longer and longer. It feels like it should be shrinking, but here we are. And typically the probables probably play, right? So then questionable, Makari Vickers. And again, I think they're going to need all the corners they can get this weekend, playing somebody of Josh Hoover's status, right, that is that good, of that talent. But we'll see what that looks like. But as of right now, this is it is concerning for sure. And the Buffs have not had a bye week yet, so they get Iowa State and then a bye week, which is right at it is needed. Wish it was this week, but or even next week. But they need to get some players healthy. They need to get some players out of the training room and getting ready to play some ball. So just something to keep our eyes on as we go through the weeks and into the bye after next week. So recruiting, so big news. So we have the 4-star wide receiver, Damani Warren. He'll be visiting on October 11th when Colorado takes on Iowa State. And then also forgot to let you guys know, there is a super chat now. So thanks to all of you. It is much appreciated. All the views, the spreading of the show. This was supposed to be in the introduction, but man, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Like I always say, without y'all, there's no show. Just really appreciate you. So I know I stopped right in the middle, but that was on my agenda as well. So just something for us to take just wanted to say thank you to all of you. So recruiting, 4-star wide receiver Damani Warren will be visiting on October 11th when Colorado, they take on Iowa State. So 6'4", 210 pounds, out of Las Vegas, Nevada. Typically, when I see Las Vegas, part of me wants, Bishop Gorman is where my mind goes, but not from Bishop Gorman. I think it's Arbor Heights is where he's from, where he plays at. But he's ranked as the 133rd overall player nationally and 35th nationally as a wide receiver in the class of 2027. So next season, Buffs are already working there. He's already visited A&M, and he will also be visiting USC and Oregon as well. So I think it's USC when they play Iowa, and I'm not sure about the Oregon date, but that is one just to to keep our eyes on. Yeah. So and then G said, interesting. Eric McAllister is only questionable. Thought he was out for TCU. Yeah, that's what it looked like, right? Like that's what I was trending towards. What I was kind of thought that I was hearing. But it looks like he's going to go, right? Questionable. That means, he's made it off the out list. So, and, it is a hamstring injury, and those things don't just magically heal. Those take time to heal a hamstring injury. So even if he does go, and I hope he's 100%, 110%, but, I don't know how long it takes it takes some time for a hamstring injury. What's up, Northside? How are you? Thanks for tuning in, man. Big game tomorrow. Yes, tired of wide receivers and recruiting. Yeah, I mean, if they can land this one, though, that's another weapon for Julian. So, I'm not against that. wish we could see, I'm happy with Rodney Colton, linebacker, but I think that is one of, as we've seen and talked about, that has been a weak spot for this Buffs team, and as well as the D line. So that I think where the focus should be, right? D line. I guess it should be all on defense at this point, is what it feels like on all three levels. So we'll something to monitor, but I'm with you on that, man. Our 3-star recruit, offensive lineman Xavier Payne. He's the one who flipped from Florida. He flipped from Florida State to Colorado. At this point, he said, I'm not going to be taking any more visits. My recruiting is shut down. Well, he's going to be taking a visit to USF, where, he is in the state of Florida. So that is something to keep an eye on as well. But again, I don't know if he decommits or what happens, but this losing right now, maybe that has a big impact on what these young men are thinking right now. So, the losing it cares all, but when they start piling up and losing the way they're losing, it takes its toll, whether we want to say it or not, or kind of think that it doesn't. And even last week when Kavian Bryant was visiting, number 1 quarterback in the 27 class, that one was even, with that loss and the way the Buffs choked it away a little bit and didn't look good, didn't look sharp. The offense looked out of rhythm. I was kind of worried about that. And then afterward, he said, essentially they're the leader in the clubhouse. So, again, I don't know, but man, I'm hopeful they can lock up Kavian Bryant, and that is the guy that'll come after Julian when Julian gets his opportunity. And then I wanted to go over this real quick with you all as well, the injury report on TCU side. So the questionable Eric McAllister and Kavorian Barnes. So Kavorian Barnes is their leading running back, their leading rusher, just a really, really good player. So those are their 2 best playmakers on the offensive end, offensive side. That is, those 2 are 2 to monitor for sure. Again, I'm not sure if they're going to play or not. Questionable means typically they'll play, just kind of how they wake up in the morning, test it out, make sure everything's good with them. But they typically, from my following of football, typically they play when they're questionable. So we'll see what that looks like come tomorrow. Before kickoff, I know the NFL is a lot easier, right? The 90 minutes before kickoff, you're actives and inactives. So, so I'm not sure. Oh, let's see. Yeah, I don't trust injury reports. This is for Vegas. Yeah. Yeah, I saw what Dion said. He wasn't happy about that. I think that's what you're quoting, Northside. Prime wasn't happy about it. He doesn't like it. It is. Honestly, that is what it is, right? So, saw X Buff. Chase Soul is playing wide receiver for Iowa State, racked up a career high. Yeah. Some of this, the one that hurts me the most is Jordan Tyson. Man, that one hurts. That one hurts pretty good every time I see him go off. I know that there's Jeremiah Smith and, what's his name over there? Ryan Williams down there in Alabama. But I really do think Jordan Tyson's the best wide receiver in the country. So that is the one that hurts me. And can you imagine having those 2, right? Chase and Jordan. Man, that would be amazing. And, part of me even is imagine if you had Jordan last year with Travis Hunter out there, right? We like to do that thing of, Jesus, what could have been, right? And this is one of those, I think, where it's where you can't help yourself, I guess, with it. But yeah, those ones hurt for sure. And then Iowa State too. I don't know if you guys were able to watch it. I was on the Big 12 show for the network. We had the Iowa State that hosts Iowa State for the Voice of College Football Network. He was on there and he was talking about their 2 corners are down. I think G even mentioned this as well. In Wednesday show, but on Tuesday he talked about it, and their 2 starting corners are out for the year, and so they go into Cincinnati tomorrow as 1.5 point underdogs. And what I think they're going to escape Cincinnati. And then I think what's going to happen after that is I think the Buffs are going to upset them and Folsom going into that bye week. Oh yeah, Humble Texan. Thanks for he said the kicker was out too, and I think the backup weighs like 390 pounds, or he said something to that effect. 291. I don't know. It was a lot. It was a good chunk of pounds. So, yeah, those two corners being out is huge, though. So, and we'll talk about keys to the game here in a minute on things that need to happen moving forward. But it is, yeah, I think Iowa State, they're kind of in a world of trouble right now, in my opinion. So, yeah, so let's talk keys to the game. Now, I have 3. I mean, I feel like I could have put like 10 on things we want fixed. But first one I have is you got to limit Josh Hoover. And I know that sounds crazy, right? It's like, okay, well, force him to be one-dimensional. We're not very good against the pass either, right? Our defense is just not very good, as we all know. But I do think the Buffs have to make TCU run the football. I know it sounds crazy, but Josh Hoover is, man, I'm trying to think here, just the best pocket passer we will probably face this season. This dude can play. So he is one that worries me. If the Buffs cannot force them to run the ball or be one-dimensional, it is going to be a long, hot day in Texas, in Fort Worth, where it is still hot. I know today it was like 85, 86 here in the Denver area. Man, I can't even imagine what it is in Fort Worth with the humidity. But that is their defense will be out there all night long, all game. It will they will just continue to get shredded, and I will really lose my mind if Josh Hoover somehow ends up with over 50 yards rushing, or even close to 50 yards. I hope that's not the case, but man, this team has been leaky this year, as we have all seen. Another thing would be, I know Prime had a press conference, and he was it on the coaches show? They were talking about man-to-man, about they don't play to cover, they play to be great, or 95. He gave some percentages, and I agree with him, but I mean, their corners so far are not making plays. When the plays do arrive, like with Tayon Parks, to make a play, you let the ball go right through your hands. Don't pick it. Yeah, so it has been a struggle. And, this week I saw, and I'm sure most of us on here have, that Colorado has five corners in terms of coverage grade that have been, graded by PFF. It's 20% of the plays. And as we know, Colorado has been Colorado has been suspect. They've been, on that outside corner. They have played so many different corners that it is it's a little mind-boggling, right? But the way that they have fared, though, is and I believe it's out of 59 or is it 66 somewhere. It is not a lot, but it said their coverage grades they rank. So just individually, 22nd, 46th, 54th, 55th, and 58th. So I want to say it's out of like 60 some corner. It's something ridiculous, but not good. So DJ McKinney has a coverage score of 63.5, which is 46th. Preston Hodge is 55.9, which is 54th, which ranks 54th. Makari Vickers is 57.6, 55th. RJ Johnson has been the best, is 66.9. That'll get him 22nd overall. Tayon Parks is 52.3, which is 58th. Now, with RJ Johnson, though, the thing is, looking at the injury report, he's not playing. He's out. So, again, and I don't know when he's going to come back. I don't know what the injury is. It is different than the NFL, right? Like, we don't get a ton of information on why they are out. I'm curious about Samuel Okunlola when he's coming back. RJ Johnson, right? There's a bunch of dudes like DeKalin Taylor, Simeon Price. I've been trying to find things. I cannot find them, or maybe I missed them, but they don't have to share a ton of information on those. But you make them one-dimensional, where TCU's strength is it's passing the ball with Josh Hoover, letting him sit back and sling that thing around the yard. And right now it sounds crazy to make a team try to run the football, right? You want to make them run, but this is how Colorado can beat TCU. They have to make them run the football, get the football out of Josh Hoover's hands. So that's what I think they should do. Again, it is almost like a double-edged sword, right? Pick your poison. The way the Buffs have been playing, I'm hopeful they come out tomorrow. They get a win in Fort Worth there, but I don't know. I think if you tuned in on Wednesday afternoon, there was Wednesday evening, I had TCU from a guest from 24/7 Sports that covers TCU on here, and he was talking about basically like you do want them to run the football. This is what you want them to do. So it is. This one just it doesn't feel right saying to run the ball. And what I also said was what they need to absolutely do, what the Buffs need to absolutely do here is basically you make them run, stop the run, and then I would, I would sit back in the zone. You do have to disguise this. They do have to slide away from running so much man-to-man. So we'll see what they do. And again, we're at, going into game 6 this year. Teams can always change, right? Teams will make a huge change mid-season, but that is the exception, not the rule. It almost feels like, and again, dare I say this is a rebuild year. That is what it feels like, right? It feels like they, this year they, you start playing with, you play with fire a little bit going into the portal so much. And this is the year it did not work. It feels like, right? As CU is hitting the first 2 years of prime. This year, it just, I don't think they hit as well with it. And again, with Dion not being on campus, there with the team all off season, I think, that makes sense the more you think about it. But it is, I think they missed a little bit this offseason. So, we'll see what that looks like, for the rest of the season. But there's definitely some holes on this Colorado team that they tried to fill, but those players they didn't hit. Yeah, should we expect a lot of laundry on the field with the CU DBs against Josh Hoover? Yes, as we've seen against Bear Bachmeyer, right? Yeah, I think there's going to be tons of penalties, and that was when I wanted to talk about above, right? Like DJ McKinney will make a good play. The play's there to be made. But then we see some flag come out and like grabs for no reason. And again, that's part of why a lot of teams don't like to run man-to-man all game long. It is very, very difficult to do that in the way that officiating is called now, where the wide receivers, offensive players, they get the benefit of the doubt most of the time. You can't breathe on them, it feels like, right? In the NFL, it's worse, but it's it feels that way as well with college now. And, a couple of those were ticky-tack against Colorado last week and against CU, but you play that much man, you play that much press, bump and run, that it's going to happen. So it's happening a little too much for sure, but that should kind of give you a sign as to where they are. Again, I'm very nervous for Josh Hoover, for what he's going to do to the Buffs tomorrow. So, but I would expect a lot of laundry on the field if they indeed come out and run man-to-man like they've been doing. And again, Prime said this week he didn't shy away from it either, right? He's like, yeah, we're going to run man-to-man. This is what we do. So, again, hope for the best. Hopefully they can make some plays, right? Because obviously man-to-man's supposed to quarterbacks have to make perfect throws against man-to-man, and that has not been the case this year, right? Where perfect throws have had to be made because they're having a hard time just sticking with their guys. So we'll see what happens. But again, I would really hope that they would be able just to run the football, force TCU to run the football. Now, with that being said, doesn't mean you get to run the football for 250 yards, right? That is not what I'm saying. You got to still stop the run, but you need to make them one-dimensional, make them drive the length of the field, make them go on those long, 12-plus play drives. And again, that's how I would handle it. That's the hope. You do not want to get into a shootout with TCU. You're not going to win that. You're not going to win in Fort Worth if that's what the plan is. So, and again, because CU's offense is so inconsistent. So, which perfect segue into the next, my second key to the game, though, Caden Salter. He needs to make some big plays. He needs to throw it deep. This defense needs to be stretched. They need to stretch it, even if it's just to keep them honest. Throw it up there, man. Like, again, Sincere is 6'5", runs that 4.3, 4.4 speed. Just throw it up there, man. Just throw it up there and let them run underneath it. If you overthrow them, you know what? The defense starts to play back a little bit. So that was a missed opportunity last week, time and time again. Again, from the stands, was watching it, is you guys got to throw the football. You have to throw it deep. You cannot let them just creep up. And again, BYU most of the night had 8 in the box, right? Even from, I'm sure that, the camera I know on TV you miss a lot. But if you would count those guys out, they had 8 in the box most of the night. And again, when they know that you're not going to challenge them deep, why wouldn't you just, have those 8 in the box? So this cannot happen again. The Buffs really, really need to. They really, really need to challenge this defense again. This is not like an amazing defense by any means. The Buffs need to get after it. The Buffs need to get after them, and they can run the football against this team. I think it's clear to say the Buffs can run the football against anybody. And so we'll talk a little bit about that in my third key. And Caden Salter, he needs to stop missing open wide receivers. And what I mean by that is not missing them throwing the football to him. What I mean is he's not even throwing it to them. They're wide open. There's so many plays, first downs, touchdowns, big plays left on the field. And my hope is that it was addressed this week. And hopefully they're ready to go. I mean, I think we are on they're teetering, and I guess I say this, I think this is the last go for Caden Salter if we see this kind of performance again where receivers are wide open, and again, even Prime earlier in the week said it is not on the receivers, it is not on the offensive line about the offense. And then you kind of start thinking to yourself, okay, then that leaves 2 other things, which we know the running backs are playing well. So, right? Like, without saying it, that's what you said, right? You named everybody but, right? It's like, I like you, and then there's that one guy that you don't even name, right? So that's what I think needs to happen tomorrow. And again, I think those plays that are in front of Caden, those need to be made. He cannot leave them. You can't leave them hanging again. You cannot leave these players out there. You can't leave them out there where your receivers are just done. They don't want to run. They don't want to run routes anymore at this point. You got to get them the ball. These dudes can play. These dudes can make plays. So hopefully that's the case. And then again, like I said, I think this is the last go. If another performance like Caden Salter has been having, missing receivers, I think this is it for him. If things don't improve, and again, even this week, I guess heading into last week, right, there was a lot of chatter. Tons of chatter about the leadership or lack thereof with Caden Salter. Again, I don't know that. Again, this is just from an outside perspective, but tons of chatter about that, right? So if those 2 things, you're not making the plays, there's a leadership issue. When you are the leader of the team as a quarterback, I mean, I think this is it, though, in my opinion. So, again, I don't know anything, but that's just how I feel. I almost think the leash is a little bit too long right now with him. They almost went the complete opposite way where, in my opinion, I thought you should have played Julian Lewis this weekend, tomorrow. I think let's get this thing rolling, put Julian in, let's get going already, and just like, let's get the future going again. You never know if you catch lightning in a bottle there, but I'm ready for Julian Lewis, and, I'll say that. And we'll see what happens. But I think this is his last. If we see this performance again, this will be the last start for Caden Salter. Now, third key to the game: play calling on both sides. So the play calling has not been right, as we know. The play calling has not been great this year. Not playing to the teams. So let's start on the offensive side first, I guess. So for some reason they go away from what's working, right? Like, I have no idea what it is, right? Last week, the first, 2 drives, scored 2 touchdowns on. Then they start the third drive, for some reason, start throwing. I didn't understand that. Make them stop you doing something. So again, if they didn't throw a single pass last week, but they won and they were able to move the ball still, no one's going to complain about that, right? And I get you got to throw the ball, hypothetical, but you got to stop going away from what's working. We have seen that a lot, right? Even that first Georgia Tech series looked good. They went away from it. It's mind-boggling a little bit. So my hope is that they continue doing what's working, continue calling that offense, stop trying to overthink this game. What I always, this game, yeah, it can be difficult. It's difficult to play these, but calling it shouldn't be that difficult. Put the ball in your best playmaker's hands. That, from an offensive perspective, that's what feels easy, right? Like, it sounds easy enough. And then they're just, like I said, consistency with the play calling. It has not been consistent. They look like we're getting in the groove, we're doing things, and then out of nowhere, the whole playbook gets changed, and we try doing something else that we're not very good at. So my hope is that the Buffs continue doing what's working, to be consistent. And that, again, that's what they need to do. And with the running game, you are going to have runs that are go 2, 3, 2, 1, then boom, 15 yards, right? 5, 2, 8, right? That is what a running game looks like. What I always think about with the running game is, from Remember the Titans, when Denzel, he goes, right, he says, I run 6 plays, split veer, and he says, this is the part. Like Novocaine, just give it time. It always works, right? So that is how a run game goes. Just give it time, right? It's like Novocaine, just give it time. It always works. And that is my opinion with the run game. That is what those are going to look like. When you're a running team, commit to it. Just commit to it at this point. Let's stop running around trying to throw it. And when you do, you suck them up and throw it over the top to one of your playmakers, right? Or you suck them in, run, get a deep shot, whatever it is, catch those safeties starting to cheat up. It isn't, your RPOs start working better then because your linebackers suck up and you throw it right behind their head. It is, the running game does a lot, which I don't know why we go away from the run game, but then the plays are set up to happen and we don't continue with it. So I think that's just what needs to take place. Now, the defense, they need to mix in more zone in there, in man-to-man. One of the things that I hate is they blitz on 3rd and long for some reason. You leave your corners out there on an island. I get you're trying to get the ball out early, to not let them get, run those deep routes, but like it's not working. You guys end up getting a penalty on 3rd and long, or someone messes up and misses a coverage or loses track of their guys. So I have a hard time with that. Real hard time with that one. So I would say, let's just stop blitzing on 3rd and long, sit back and let them beat you. Make sure you let them know, right? Like our 3rd and 17 last week, you guys drop back. We're not gaining a ton of depth on our drops, right? We don't want it thrown over us, obviously, but keep your eyes on the quarterback. When he takes off, that's when we move. And then stretch the defense and test them, right? You have to test the defense. Back to the offense, you have to test them. You got to throw that thing out there. You got to throw it up. You got to look for shot plays. Did not happen last week. Did not happen whatsoever last week. It was that was tough to see. And then adjustments. Last thing is adjustments that I had on here. They have to make adjustments, right? Back to play calling, coaching. Adjustments have to take place in this game for a shot to win this. Like, you cannot come out and continue doing what you're doing, right? Like, unless it's working, right? We seen last week, for some reason, the playbook changed, and then we had BYU put a spy on Caden, and they didn't adjust to it, right? Like, that's one less guy you got to worry about in coverage or coming downhill, right? It was just a little bit mind-boggling to me as to what the lack of adjustments made last week against BYU. And, Caden even said it after the game, when they adjust, we have to adjust. And that was a big red flag for me when that came out. Now, let's see. Humble Texan says, let me get it up here. They said, feels like they started too fast against BYU and couldn't keep the same pace. I hope they come out set against TCU and keep consistent play calling. Yeah, that would be the hope. You go up like that, you don't need to come out throwing the ball around the yard like they did when they were up 14. They should have just continued running the football, honestly, because one, eats the clock, right? Eats the clock off, and they could not stop you running the football, right? Like, that was mind-boggling to me a little bit as to what they were doing with that. Run the football, impose your will on the team. So, and again, the Buffs have yet to do that. The killer instinct is not there. They can't get the knockout punch. They don't know how to seal things. And again, and maybe that's just what this team is going to struggle with this year. So, I guess the hope about that is those one-score games tend to flip the other way next year, right? So, it's hard for a team to replicate that year after year after year. So hopefully they'll swing a little bit more our way next year. Now, prediction. So let's say they hit these 3 keys and do all those. And again, that's a lot. I could have had 10. Those are like, even within those, there's subtopics within them. The 3 keys I gave. But I think at the same time, though, you do these things, you can walk away with the win. You can walk away with the win. And sorry, I just chuckled because G says, "Yikes! Good luck with C make an adjustment." I know. They adjust at the wrong time, right? Like it's like you're adjusting away from something that's working. What are we doing? So, trying to be the smart guys and the really really smart person in the room that's like, well, we're gonna do this, but they haven't even stopped this. Like, let's not worry about our next move and continue doing this and see if they can stop us. So, I hope adjustments are made again. I hope the Buffs can pull out every single game moving forward. Again, not realistic, but again, I mean, this game has a lot of implications in my opinion. Sorry, I couldn't get that one out. But if they hit these 3 keys, I think they can pull out a close one, 30-27, 31-28, something like that. But, and I think it's a huge but, they have to hit those 3 keys. A huge if, I should say. If not, I think they lose 41-17, 41-21, something like that. It is, I've been saying this since earlier in the week, but this one doesn't feel good as a fan going into TCU. They are walking in to play a pissed off TCU game that let one get away against Arizona State last week that they should have won. And that is what they're walking into. To me, it feels like, and again, anytime Prime's teams show up, like Shador said, it's the other team's Super Bowl, right? It feels like that, right? I think it's going to be loud. It's going to be a hostile environment. This one just feels like we're walking into a buzzsaw, so I tend to lean to that 41-17. 41-21 loss. I don't think this is going to be – this is not – I don't know. I just feel like this one's going to change a lot of things and a lot of adjustments are made. Chad says, what's the TC environment like? Is that a tough stadium to play in? I think, anytime you play in Texas football, it's a tough stadium to play in. But it is, TCU, I mean, they have a lot of success there. We're 3 years removed from them being in the national championship game. Sonny Dykes is a hell of a coach. That place is going to be rocking. It can be a tough place to play in. And I would always assume the worst or their best outing as a fan when we are on the road as Colorado, because again, just the publicity that it brings. Everybody wants to see the Buffs. Everybody wants to see Prime, and everybody wants to root against them. So, it can be a tough stadium to play in. So, and I think almost anywhere in Texas, right? You look at your Texas Tech, tough place to play at, right? We look at any of those stadiums, University of Texas, Houston. I don't know how tough that is to play in. I don't know a ton about the Houston football. I know that they play football, right? They beat us earlier, but I don't know. I typically watch basketball with them, and I mean, even there, it was loud there, right? It was loud in Houston. So, UT Austin, all of them those are tough places to play in. Texas is loud, SMU, all of them are very loud. So, especially with the Colorado Buffaloes and Coach Prime leading the way with them. So, I think this one just doesn't feel good to me. And I think this is the week, right? I wanted to say, there's a lot of implications. And what I mean by that is this is going to be one of those ones that separates this team from being a bowl eligible team versus a team that is going to win 1 or 2 more games the rest of the way, which is crazy to say where we were at during the summertime with the amount of talent this team has. But, from the sounds of it, it is not there's not a ton of leadership on this team, and it's crazy, right? Xavier Payne said, Xavier Hill. See, now that I just mentioned him, Xavier Hill said, well, we lead by example in the offensive line room. And that was that. It's like, okay, well, that leadership needs to spread everywhere else. Again, I know Jordan Seaton tries his best to get these dudes ready to go, and it's like almost feels like it's fallen on deaf ears. So it is just be interested to see the body language, in warm-ups and those kind of things. So this is Yeah, this is one of those games. This is one of those games where, where it's the teeter totter, right? We're teetering one way or the other. This one is gonna decide where we are. And again, I just want to see the body language, and I think we can tell a lot from the body language when the team comes out sidelines what this game is going to look like or what this game is going to be. Yeah, this has to be. So Humble Texan said this has to be a damage control game. Keep players engaged, keep fans engaged. You have to win to keep money coming in, and you got to win to keep players there. And I think I remember who it was. Maybe it was Humble Texan talking about damage control for the season, and I said, well, it's damage control for next year. You have to start getting Julian Lewis in. You have to start getting these younger dudes in so you don't lose them, right? This is where we're at, and it's going to get to a point. And again, I think if a blowout takes place this week, tomorrow, I think it's the Julian Lewis show moving forward, and this is his team. This is, that's it's his university. It's all those things now. It becomes Julian. Future is now, and the wins and losses, as much as I hate saying that, right? Like obviously we all love to win here, but the wins and losses don't really matter at that point. It's developing Julian Lewis and the rest of these younger, the rest of the younger team. That is what the rest of the season would be like, because again, you lose this one, you are now 0-3 in Big 12 play, 2-4. And by the way, you go home to play Iowa State. So again, I know they're missing their starting corners, but if this one gets ugly, or even a loss, I mean, you're now talking about bowl eligibility now, and I would say that might be out the window at that point, because then what does the Buffs have to go 4-2 the remainder of the way? And again, I don't see that happening. So this is a big game. It's a big game, no matter how we slice it. And again, they could lose this game and win out, right? Again, I don't think that's the case, but that is where we could be. So I know I checked today, Buffs are still 13.5 point underdogs. Yeah, I don't bet a lot. I know we talked about a lot about that. And again, if you missed it at the beginning, check out Rebet. Go through here, click on the link in the chat. I believe I just started. If you guys use it, you can use the link or the code. The code is VOCFBCU. And basically what you'll get is 100% purchase match up to $100. So again, if that's what you're into, if not, no big deal. Just make sure you use that link or let me put this in the chat too. VOCFB CU, right? So Voice of College Football CU. If that is what again, if that's what you're into, cool. Just helps the show out as well. So, and then again, if somebody who has a gambling problem, make sure that you guys, let me put this up as well. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. So again, just to take it, and I believe they still had them at 13.5 points, dogs right now. And again, I mean, this is just kind of the reality what the Buffs are in right now. So just I hope they win tomorrow. I hope they pull it off. I hope we see a completely different team. But again, I'm very skeptical about what we're going to see tomorrow from this team. So I will be doing there won't be a pregame. There will be a postgame. So look for that. That'll go live. So games at 5:30 p.m. Mountain Time. It'll be right after that. So jump on here. We'll talk about everything. Hopefully, we're talking about a win, not a loss or a blowout, or and again, I don't even know what's worse at this point, to continue losing these close games or just get blown out. I don't know which one's worse, because right. I guess in a close game, it's like, man, here we go again. A blowout, it's kind of like, well, maybe we're just not as good as, we're just not that good of a team. So, I don't know which one I prefer. I prefer a win, but we'll see. We'll see what the Buffs have up their sleeve tomorrow. We'll see if they can get this thing turned around, get this season turned around, and just, let's just keep doing our thing. Get after them. Let's throw it deep. Do what we need to do. We'll walk out of Fort Worth again with the win. Right, like a couple years ago. So that's the hope for this team. We'll see what they do. We'll see how they close this. This week. But tomorrow I'll be on here right after the game. Right after the game's over, I'll go live. I'll tweet it out. Probably third, fourth quarter, somewhere around there, mid third quarter. Start getting it out there a little bit. You guys will see that live for tomorrow. I hate putting a time on it, so don't follow the time as much. like it'll say like 8:15 or whatever it is. Don't pay attention to that. We'll be live right after the game. So until next time, enjoy your weekend, and let's get this win tomorrow, Buffs. Go get them. And, like Travis, Heisman Trophy winner Travis Hunter says, "Go Buffs, baby." All right, guys, have a good evening, and we'll catch you guys tomorrow after the game. And let's go Buffs. Let's go get them. Let's get a dub tomorrow.